Well,
Okay. Jared, how's it going?
it's going. It's going. What a crazy time since the last time we did one of these.
Yeah.
And the last concert. You're in a new house. We had so many ministry things at my church. I'm kind of tired, Dan. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You have
Not gonna lie to you.
vacation soon?
No,
No. Okay, great.
nope. In a couple weeks, I go to youth camp with our high school students.
Okay.
With like
Summer camp, man. You don't work on
with
summer
like
camp.
over 40 students, 40 high schoolers.
Nice. That's great. What's the
It's good
theme
times.
of camp going to be this year?
Sola Scriptura.
Okay. Hold on here.
Scriptura.
Haven't you heard that youth pastors have to have cheesy themes and cheesy like cliches?
Yeah, I'm not one of those. I just
You're just
go hard or go home.
gonna hit them with the Reformation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, got any toddler tales for us?
Mm, mm. Judah is talking so much, more than ever. He just gets up and he just full sentences, just negotiates everything. Did I talk to you about the one? I don't know if I said it last time.
You told
The
us about the
one,
drive out there. He doesn't want just $1. He wants $100.
yeah, there was also the other day. He we came home from something. We walked inside and he told me, he asked, "Dad, can we watch a little show?" And I said, "No, we can't watch a little show." He was like, "Well, I'm daddy now and I watch a little show." And I was like, "No." He's like, "Daddy makes the rules and I'm daddy and I watch a show."
Well, okay
It was
then.
wild. It was a wild time. I didn't know what to do, so I kind of just laughed.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The Lily is still in the cute stage, although she's really experimenting with the bounds and the nose right now.
Mm.
But today, we got her little kiddie pool set up in our backyard, and she played and played and played. She was tired. Lindsay was tired. Lindsay fell asleep on the couch, kind of passed out. And then Lily is just running around, and I'm doing dishes, and all of a sudden I just have this this toddler just like, "What are you doing, kid? You're still in your swimsuit." So
Yep.
I take her upstairs, change her, come back down. I put her in PJs because it's like, okay, you're probably gonna take a nap or something. And then she gets her sippy cup with some milk, sits next to Mama, picks up Mama's book and starts turning through this chapter book. And so I replaced that with one of her books. And the next time I come back into the living room, they are both asleep on the couch. It was awfully cute.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, they say the first 10 years is like when you're supposed to like really just involve yourself, immerse yourself with your kids. Cause I don't know if you watch Jordan Peterson at all, but he talks about it how like you're their hero.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 10, that's when friends and all that, kind of that different life starts. Having kids is fun and hilarious and
It
cute.
is an adventure.
Oh man. It's nice that you have the pool though. It's like oppressively hot out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a little kiddie pool. It has like a little dinosaur on it.
Mm.
She loves it.
It's just been so hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that it's hot. it's that it's humid. You know, when you go outside and you feel like you're swimming through the air.
Yep.
No, absolutely not.
Philadelphia.
This isn't happening. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have some exciting news, don't we? Christ, the Hope of Glory is fully funded.
Fully funded.
Yes.
All done. We were freaking out for a while.
And it is...
Now that it's done, though, did that one guy ever pull out?
His surprise, his credit card did not work. So we only had, out of the 71 backers, only 2 of them did not pull through.
Gotcha.
Yep.
2 of them that we knew about, right?
One of them was just a random person I didn't know.
Gotcha.
But Kickstarter is telling me that the rest of them, they have successfully processed all that. So for those of you who are wondering how this works, Kickstarter, when you pledge, the money is not taken away. The money only moves from your card or your account once the campaign ends and the pledge limit has been reached.
Right.
And so now that the pledge limit has been reached, Kickstarter is collecting the funds from the backers. And then about 14 days after the end of the campaign is when they start to send that to us.
Right.
So this Friday, hopefully, Kickstarter will be sending, although our campaign ended at 11:59, so I don't know how they're going to handle that. It's probably next week is when we'll actually see the funds in our account and I can give our producer the down payment.
Yep.
So, but now the podcast gets to live up to its purpose because we started this podcast to be able to have a venue to give updates to our backers. So I'll be sending this out as a Kickstarter update.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been really great.
So
it's a lot less stressful. That month was just like, oh my gosh.
Are we going to be able to do this? Are we going to be able to do this? And turns out, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a much smarter way of doing it than our last time we did this.
Mm-hmm.
Which is foreshadowing for what we are going to be talking about in the rest of this podcast. We're going to reminisce because it's also been the 1 year anniversary of The Home That He Has Promised.
Yep, our first EP.
Yep, we released that July 1st, 2022.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
Yeah. So after we give the Kickstarter update, we'll circle back around to do some reminiscing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you just want me to run down where we're at with the Kickstarter?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Kickstarter, we are currently waiting for Kickstarter to send us the funds. Once the funds hit the bank account, then that's when I can do the down payment for our producer and the studio time. If you guys remember, Kay played bass for us on our last album, and he's an intern at Light and Sound Studios in Philadelphia, and so he is going to be producing this one for us, which is why we can make this work on a $10K budget. So once that hits, I'm able to give the down payment, and then some things have to happen. We need to find a time to rehearse. Scheduling is like the bane of our existence.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's scheduling Kay, who's busy. You and I and Nate are dads, right?
And ministry
and your
workers.
Wife, yeah, we're all ministry workers. And your wife and Sean Ellis, he's
in Chahy right now.
Player.
Yep.
Yeah, he's doing like a whole long summer camp with a bunch of music students.
Yep.
And I guess he's teaching music too.
The Chahi Summer School of Music at Cairn University. It's a it's basically summer camp for classical musicians, Christian classical musicians. And Sean is, if I remember correctly, he's the head counselor there.
Yeah. And then Colin, who's like super busy. So right now it's juggling schedules so that we can all do a solid rehearsal, do things like write down what we want each song to sound like and our parts, and then go in and start cranking out.
Yeah, and it's not just writing down what we want it to sound like in general, but this rehearsal is going to be going measure by measure through the songs, figuring out exactly how we want it to sound. Yep. So that when we go in, it's like creating a checklist for that when we go into the studio, we're like, hey, did we get the fill at measure 48? There were some interesting, we'll talk more about it when we get to the home that he has promised. There were some interesting artifacts in the home that he has promised. So planning that rehearsal, once we have rehearsed and we are satisfied with what we're going to do, then the first step is Nate has to record drums.
Yep.
And then once Nate records drums, everything else just kind of follows.
Yep.
So we're just working with the clock. So I'm hoping, my hope is that we get Nate recorded before the first weekend in August.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
He's away that same week I am too.
Okay.
For summer camp.
Yep.
Nate's also one of my youth leaders.
Yeah. So, yep. So those are the next steps. That's where we're at right now. Hoping to get the recording beginning of August. I'm hoping to be done before I leave for Kentucky mid-August, but we will see. We don't want to rush
Dan's
this.
going away.
Yep.
He's going to learn from the Sovereign Grace boys.
Yep. I'm excited for that.
You're going to do some of our songs, Dan?
Part of the intensive is that we get to lead worship, a 15-minute set, and I'm going to do Forever and Always the Same as one of the songs. It's a good one.
It is. That's good.
Yeah. So, to stay up to date with what's happening with this project, you can go to the worshipingsongwriter.com. I'll be posting blogs. We'll be putting this on YouTube and things like that. So next step is basically recording. For those of you who have backed the project, most of you should have received a Kickstarter reward survey. And then I'm still working out some of the details to send out the remaining one. So if you haven't gotten it yet, don't worry. Most of you, I'm basically just asking for your email.
Right.
Yep. And some of the rewards are going out like right now. Those who signed up for lessons are getting links to sign up for lessons.
Yeah, we're getting t-shirts made, or we're designing them, and then those will get through when we have the money itself, so we can actually pay for.
What, you actually have to pay for that stuff?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Anything you wanted to add, Jared?
No, just I think we hit everything. Scheduling, recording, waiting for that Kickstarter stuff to come in.
Yep. Yeah, I'm really like excited for this.
It'll be a snowball.
Yep.
The snowball effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you want to reminisce a little?
Yeah, we can talk about the first album.
Yeah. So, 1 year
what was
ago,
your favorite one?
My favorite song from the album?
Yeah.
Oh man. That is actually a hard one because they're all so different.
It really is.
It's easier
Every song is completely different.
It's easier for me to say my least favorite one.
Okay.
I was not as happy with how God of Heaven turned out.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was the weakest link on the album. Even though Sean calls it the strongest melody. I feel like we do a better job with that one live than we do on the actual recording.
And I remember recording that. There was like I was in the studio with Sean that one day. It took me so long to like get the right note.
Mm-hmm. I was sick that day. I
Recording.
wasn't able to be there with you.
Yeah, you were sick, and it was like I know that song with the back of my hand now. I sang that song so many times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not even joking. I probably sang that song upwards of almost 30 times that day
Oh man.
just to get it right, or those sections, just that section to get it right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It was yeah, I think one of the other things though was that Sean switched guitars for that day of recording. He had a Strat at first, and then he switched. I forget exactly which one, but he had a semi-hollow body guitar, and there was just a lot of mids.
Yep.
So
It didn't have that. It didn't have that same tone.
yeah. So that one, God of Heaven, was the one I was the least happy with. Recording wise, I think like Grace Every Day was probably the one I was happiest with, like recording product. But in terms of uniqueness in the music, My King Has Heard My Cry is mwah. I'm actually working on a choral arrangement of that one now.
Wow. Yeah, that medieval cowboy song for sure.
Yep. The fun trivia about that one is that we recorded it. We actually cut a beat out of the recording after recording it.
We did.
Yep.
Got a whole beat out.
We had recorded part of a song, and then I had a coaching session with Keith Getty and got some feedback on it. And so after the feedback, went back.
Because he likes that one.
Yeah.
He thinks it was like the most interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's so different.
It is. Everyone should go listen to My King Has Heard My Cry on Spotify and everywhere else where they're streaming.
Yeah. I think the two most fun to play for me were Grace Every Day and He Leadeth Me. I enjoyed playing those. But I don't know. It'd probably be up between He Leadeth Me and The Home That He Has Promised.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of sentimental reasons, though, The Home That He Has Promised is my favorite one.
Yeah. Yep. It has to be one of those for me.
Yeah, did you have a favorite moment from recording?
When it was done, I remember we were just grinding it out, and it was the first time we did it, so we spent a lot of time in Ben's studio. I don't know. It was so unique because we were all there pretty much for the whole recording of it, right? So like we live recorded it essentially. I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Like we were all in different areas. Like Dan, our piano player, was upstairs in Ben's living room on this beautiful baby grand piano. And then
Nate,
you and I were in the back room, and Nate was
in the main room,
in the same room, in the main room with Kay and your wife on pads.
And Sean was playing guitar, even though so Sean was playing electric guitar, but the amp was in an isolation chamber.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a wild live mixing time. And you and I were in the vocal booth, essentially. It was a more separate room. Where essentially just played a scratch
Yeah, live instead of
live.
this time around. We are creating the scratch tracks before we go into the studio.
Right. And we think that'll save time.
Yeah. And we have a better idea of what we're actually going to do.
Yeah.
Yep. That reminds me, I was talking about the artifacts in My King Has Heard My Cry. So one of the things with us playing it live and not playing along to pre-written tracks, pre-recorded tracks, is that we actually dropped a measure in, I think it was the second instrumental.
Yep.
But
dropped the whole measure.
Yeah, we dropped the whole measure. This isn't the measure that we intentionally cut. This is a measure that while we were performing it, just like everyone in the band dropped it.
Yep.
So if you're counting along in My King Has Heard My Cry, and you're like, oh, that was weird, it's because it was.
No, it was jazz. It was jazz. Yeah, no, and I mean there was things like that peppered throughout, like a missed beat and stuff in He Leadeth Me in the beginning of the song. We kind of like stumbled and picked up. But it was all a learning process. You know, we would do it differently.
We are doing it differently.
I know, but maybe some years down the road we'll do like a, you know how like people in video games and like Hollywood, they're like just remaking stuff now. Maybe we'll do a remake.
A remake of The Home That He Has Promised?
Maybe sometime down the road.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, well, a remaster would be if I got the master tracks and we went back
and just redid it.
Yeah.
Or a remake.
Yeah, unlike because Switchfoot just re-released The Beautiful Letdown.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did is they re-recorded every single track.
Yeah,
they didn't just remaster it.
Caedmon's Call's doing the same thing.
Yeah, they didn't just remaster it, where they took what was already recorded and then just did different settings on it. They re-recorded each track.
Yeah. Well, let's get through this one. And then we can think about future ones.
Yep, let's get through this one.
Well, it's interesting. Some of the giving tiers, right? The levels.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have any people send to him? Like,
I was actually just thinking that. Like, oh.
Because that would be an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, well, it will be an interesting thing to do because we have to do it. Let me go check. I actually haven't looked at the latest responses, but let me go do my report over here and see. I can let's see here. I'm looking for the pick a hymn. It does not seem like, I don't think any of our hymn backers have
gone back to us.
Yeah, they have not filled out their surveys.
How many people back that?
4, I believe.
Yeah, that's manageable.
Yeah.
If it was like 7 or 8 or 9, I'm like, oh, there's a whole other album.
Yep. Yeah, our the people who have backed the hymn level have not provided us with what hymn they want yet.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll have 4 or 5.
Okay.
Okay. Man,
did Bill Lyle ever get you the things from the concert?
He is not.
Okay. I'll have to reach out to him.
Yep. Yeah, but it's okay. I've been busy with the whole move and things like that.
Yep. We all have. All busyness, but we're backed, fully funded.
Backed,
It's
fully
exciting.
funded, ready to go.
1 year since the first album.
1 year since the first album. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do some glows and grows, just like to actually round off that segment because we kind of just meandered.
Yeah.
So glows and grows. So let's go and list. How about 2 glows, 1 grow each?
All right.
Sound good? You want to start us off?
Let me think about it. You go first.
Okay. So I'll start off with one of my glows. One of my glows is actually coming and doing a completed project. As someone with ADHD, I have this long list of projects that I have started and never finished. And so to actually see a project through from beginning to a published product is a huge glow for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to do a second glow?
Oh no, we're alternating.
Oh, alternating.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're up.
I don't know. Being on a project like this was pretty cool in that, you kind of gave me some creative license to put an arrangement of a hymn together. And I've been doing that for a while, but it was cool to actually do it and get it to you, and you seem to like it and
that one
put it on the album.
That one is actually probably going to be the one that I keep using the most in church.
Yeah.
I feel like the other songs are going to kind of fade away. Like they're not going to catch on like the songs on Christ the Hope of Glory.
Yeah. Well, it was such a different project. Like,
yeah.
I think the one that could stick around the most would be The Home That He Has Promised because of that just how can I keep from singing?
Yeah.
Melody is so timeless. But yeah, I think you're right in terms of that. I think both of those in particular just have that timelessness to them where they just stick around. But for me, it was, you were like, hey, why don't you put a hymn together? And I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of like what I'm thinking, guys. And this is how I played it for Dan and played it for the team. And they were like, we like it. Let's do it. So that was cool. That was the first time I ever did anything like that. Not like arrange a hymn, but like arrange it for an album.
Yeah.
Because Dan, as we've written some stuff together. I've written some stuff on my own that probably will never see the light of day.
I know that feeling.
But I'm out of the two of us. Dan just thrives as a songwriter, and admittedly I'm still trying to find my voice in songwriting.
Dude, you do great with these hymn arrangements.
Thanks.
So many people have said after the concerts, dude, Rock of Ages was so good.
Yeah.
So you have a gift for bringing, like, recontextualizing these old songs, these old hymns, and then kind of bringing them to the table. And people who would never have a hymn are going to go like, ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, I had someone when we did the concert at your church. I had another pastor come up to me. He says, he started off, he was like, I got to tell you, I hate Rock of Ages. I was like, oh gosh. I was like, well, he was like, well, let me finish. But the way you guys played it, that's the way we should sing this song. And I was like, oh gosh, dodged a bullet. But yeah, I appreciate that, Dan. I mean, but
do you know what you're doing? You know how, like, sometimes to get our kids to eat vegetables, we like smother them in cheese or hide them inside of a donut?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You are smothering these hymns with cheese and saying, "Hey, CCM world, take a look at this."
I hope I'm not detracting from him.
No, you're. Well, we won't ask Lindsay, but
Well, she liked He Leads Me.
yeah. For reference, Lindsay very much loves hymns in their original settings,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so putting Rock of Ages in 4 was a sin.
Yeah, I just completely changed the hymn all the time. But no, you know, it was a glow to me because I don't usually, I don't thrive as a songwriter, I guess, right now, and I'm still trying to find my voice and footing. And Dan he's the songwriter of us, and I just make his songs sound beautiful, like his wife. You know, we just sing his songs. And well, I mean, you ask me stuff all the time. Hey, does this make sense? Or, you know, can you listen to this? And I'll give my input. But anyway, that was pretty big for me.
Yeah.
So that was long-winded. Sorry.
If I can have you to bounce the ideas off of, like, once you're willing to do one of these songs, I'm like, okay, now we got something.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the grow next. So I'm going to do the glow, grow, glow sandwich. For my grow, my big grow from the last album is actually, I'm not going to go with the musical side. The part that I needed to grow the most in is on the business side. Especially when it comes to marketing, financing, promoting. And so that's been one of the big focuses I've had with Christ the Hope of Glory, especially with the Kickstarter, is not just throwing it out there. Because what happened with the last one is we kind of like, we took forever to record it, and I was just so ready for it to be done that we rushed the launch. And you can tell no one's heard of the home that he has promised. That's okay. I also did a terrible I've done a terrible job marketing it. And so this time around, it's like, okay, well, let's see how can, like, and the reason why I'm focusing so much on it is because I believe in these songs. I believe that these songs that we're writing and we're singing are good for the church and good for Christians to sing. And so we have to be good stewards of what we've been given. And that's good stewards musically, making it sound the best that we can make it sound. Good stewards, like in the writing process, making the songs the best that we can make them, but also good stewards in a business marketing perspective, where we're supporting these songs the best that we can, so that they can be like, you know, you don't have a light and then you go to hide the light. You put the light out where people can see it. And so part of this, the marketing side and the business side and the Kickstarter side, is about supporting these songs to reach a wider audience than they normally would.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're growing in even now, though. Like the big thing that people follow, right? And this is just me and you having conversation at this point. But if anybody, you know, whoever listens to this, whether it be our backers or something, and you guys have a project, people are interested in stories, right? And so Dan and I are still developing that and trying to figure what that is in Lock and Kane, and Dan kind of really honing in on that, on the worshiping songwriter, and you know, and how we communicate that effectively, so that we can do these projects, right? So like the Christ of Hope of Glory is a fun passion project of ours that we hope just kind of grows into churches singing these songs, and then communicating that, like, we're interested in one thing, you know, writing and arranging hymns that are theological and beautiful. That's what we're interested in. And so we're trying to express that in a narrative that people can buy into.
Writing songs
So
to know Christ and make him known.
exactly. So I agree with you, Dan. I think the grow in the process would be an outside voice outside of us. Like when we were going through the first album, I had so much going on. Looking back, I was partially probably like going through some sort of depression.
Hmm.
There was a lot going on just in that time. Some other family things and some emergencies and stuff, but um, being able to have somebody who's kind of like more in tune with producing music than you and I are.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I are pastors, right? Like, and this is all really new for us. And probably, admittedly, you're kind of more in tune now than we were in the past with production and maybe like mixing. My world in sound reinforcement has always been live mixing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Live mixing for either live streams or like live rooms like that. So that's kind of my expertise. But producing a recorded product is completely different from all those things. And so a grow is something that we're doing even now is getting, a guy who knows what he's doing and works in a studio, and our friend who actually played bass on the first album, and he's going to play bass on this one, and him producing it. I think that's a grow that we've already made that decision to get somebody else's ear and somebody
Mm-hmm.
else's eyes on everything.
Yep. Okay, so I guess that brings me to my last low. I think one of the things that I just look back on is just I'm so proud of the band.
Mm.
Just working together with everyone to make this happen and the amount of time and dedication that they gave to the project. I am so appreciative of them, and it is one of those core memories that I get to hold on to and go, hey, these guys are great, and I get to make music with them.
Yeah.
So, Big Glow
And they're all friends.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Glow is the relational side of this.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, and being able to do this with them, because typically people like our friends Kenny and Claire, who we had on a few episodes ago, go to a producer and the producer finds musicians and they plug them in. And then you work with musicians maybe you've worked with in the past because you've done a project with them, or you haven't, and you kind of have to get a feel for them and what they kind of bring to the table, because people just play differently.
Mm-hmm.
And some people can play lots of different genres and different things, but it's cool to have somebody people that we know personally who are dedicated Christians of the faith. Number one. Number two, are phenomenal musicians. Like, they're just good.
Yeah.
Like, really good. And so this time around, we have new people like Tim Gramling coming on, who's just a really good piano player. Like, and he's grown into that.
Mm-hmm.
And people like Nate, and Sean, and, your wife,
Colin.
and Kay, and Colin, we're going to have a cello on this album. Just guys who are just also bought into what we're doing, and honestly, that just saves us money too. They're interested in doing this because they're family, right? They're friends.
Yep.
And it's amazing that we get to know and be a part of these musicians' lives because they're just that. They're family and friends.
Yep. And that's why I always hate to hear whenever I'm in an employment situation and the boss goes, we're family here. I'm like, that's not good, because I want to be paid for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So,
And it's not that I don't think they believe we're taking advantage of them. I think they want to be a part of it.
yeah.
Right. I know for Nate, he tells me all the time, he was like, Jared, if anything happens and you go on tour with the Shanes, you better take me. He
Yep.
was like, I just want to get paid to play the drums and teach the Bible. Is that too much to ask?
There we go. Hmm.
So
Yeah. So there we go.
I think that completes it.
Yeah. And if anyone is worried that we're not taking care of our musicians, if you really want to help, you can go to theworshipingsongwriter.com, and if you buy the home that he has promised, you are helping us get one step closer to earning a full-time income with music.
True. If people buy CDs anymore, it's always just Spotify.
Well, they can just, yeah. Buy it because you want to help us.
Yeah. Or churches using our music too.
Yeah.
That'd be great, because we want them to go on Song Select, right? Like CCLI.
Yep.
What do we have to do to make that happen?
The last I
How many
heard,
churches
I
can
think
use
we
it?
need 10 churches doing a song.
The same song.
Yeah. Although I wonder if, depending on what has to happen, I need to contact Matt Merker about the well that never runs dry. Because last I talked with him, there was something about the well that never runs dry needs to be co-published by Getty Music. That might be an easy in for Song Select, because
That'd be
publishers.
awesome.
But I have no
That'd be
idea
awesome.
what that looks like legally.
I know, because it's intellectual property of you and Matt.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and what it looks like to have Getty Music co-publish something when they're not actually, like, we're not actually in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
We're kind of just associated with them.
Yeah. We're not like no affiliation besides Dan is buds with Matt.
I don't get to go to Ireland with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they are now.
Or where they were. I think that maybe they're back. I don't know.
I don't think they're back. I think
Okay.
they're there still.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
cool, man.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, well, anything else that you want to say?
No, what can they be looking forward to then? Or some next things.
Next things, more updates through the Kickstarter. Be looking for Kickstarter surveys. Get me those emails, and rewards will start going out as they are available. Like the home that he has promised, those of you who sign up for digital downloads, those will be ready before Christ the Hope of Glory is ready. I'm pretty sure I can safely say that.
For the new album.
Yeah. Be looking for emails from Kickstarter, but also from the worshiping songwriter at gmail.com, because that is how I will be sending out rewards, either through Kickstarter directly or from the worshiping songwriter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. It's a little weird with the rewards because some of them are tiered. Some of the rewards are ready now, but other ones have to wait.
Yeah, just with how the finances work.
Yep. Yeah.
Dan just bought a house.
Help.
And I wish I had a house, but not in this economy.
Yep.
So, well, we appreciate all you guys who have backed. You know, we are so excited to do this project, and we look forward to updating you as we go.
Yeah. So stay tuned, and we'll let you know when the next podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
See you guys.